Hey pod people, it's Joe.
And I'm Kel, and this is Cosmic Connections 101. Today, we are sort of continuing on from our last podcast because it's such a deep and meaningful conversation for us that we couldn't really squeeze everything into one episode. And I'm pretty sure that there will be follow-ups in the future around this topic because it is really central to who we are and our identity. And for Jody, a big part of your spiritual practice and just how you get along in the world every single day.
Yep.
And so it can't really be summarized in one episode.
Yeah, and it's always evolving. Like, you know what I mean? It's how can it not? And then there'll be, like, for me, obviously, I think I spoke a lot in the last one, but we didn't get back to your high school experience, Kel. So firstly, like, I wanted to, like, in this episode, we'll talk about our direct connection to our ancestors and how we bring that into our everyday spiritual practice, walking in the world. I said, but I wanted to go back to one of your, like, it was so wicked and we were so proud of your experience that you and Shalina got to have. Was Jelly in that? No.
Shalina wasn't, just me.
I thought it was Shell. Why do I always
No,
say? It's because she's always together.
Yeah, I was 16. So it wasn't open to like really younger kids. But yeah, about my experience of getting to dance at the 2000 Olympics opening ceremony. I can talk about from like the beginning of that if you want. Yeah.
Yes, please, because I want to hear, like, because obviously I only know, me and Dad would drop you out to the rehearsals and wait around for hours, but it was still like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, how deeply connected can you get through dance?
Well,
so I wanted to hear how it came apart.
Okay. So as I mentioned in the last episode, we like at our high school had a lot of Black kids and a lot of support from who, we always had just an Aboriginal staff member there who, would always take us under their wing and just help us out. And so it had come across their desk that there were auditions for the 2000 Olympics and the Aboriginal dancing segment. And obviously, as a 15, 16-year-old, like I didn't really understand the significance of that. To me, I auditioned originally to get out of school and to hang out with my mates. Okay. If I'm being
that's what happens.
Transparent. My mates were going and I didn't want to be at school that day. So I'm like, sure, I'll audition. And all the kids from our school got accepted into to the awakening ceremony. And then we had rehearsals for a really long time beforehand, like a really, really like months and months. And it was such a huge commitment now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like you just said, Joe, there was a lot of pride around just you and Dad actually transporting us to our rehearsal. And so while all this was going on, like, me and my friends at school, we got to hang out with all the Black kids from the local area and made a lot of friends. And, that's what it was about to me. It was just about connecting with other Black kids in the local area, having fun. And then it really didn't hit me on the importance of what we were doing, like showcasing our culture to the entire world through dance and music, until I'm getting like goosebumps.
Yeah, I know, same.
Remembering until I remember we had to get dressed in the parking lot across from, where the stadium is in Olympic Park. And I remember all of us girls putting on our outfit and painting each other up, doing, like paint on our face, ochre on our arms. Oh God. I've never really like talked about it like this before. So I'm getting goosebumps remembering. But it wasn't until we were all standing there together, painted up, and we could hear the people in the stadium that it really sunk in what we're about to do. And then so when we had to walk across to the stadium area and then line up, and because I was one of the first people to have to go out into the arena area, I could see everybody and like everyone had these glow wristbands, and I could see how many people were there. And we knew obviously that the whole world was tuning in because it was the opening ceremony of the 2000 Olympic Games. You know, it was massive, a huge deal. So we knew that millions of people were going to be watching us perform and display our culture. And I just remember standing there and just my heart filling with so much pride of like, you know, everybody is going to see how special our culture is right now. Like how much when we dance, it is our spirit. It's coming from our heart. Like we're not just dancing with our body. It's like everything. So I just remember, like being overwhelmed by that. And then, you know, because there was so many different dancers from all over Australia, like it was a massive production, and then people from Torres Strait Islands, and you know, it was such a huge moment. And I just remember being so proud. And then when it was finished, like the adrenaline from it all, like I was just on a high for so long. And then I just like, when I would think back to the reason why I went to rehearsals and why, you know, just to hang out with mates, and like it seems so like frivolous and whatever, because by the end of it, like I really was transformed and I was changed because of that experience. And just hearing, you know, people even now, like when I watch the clips back that you see online, like it still gives me goosebumps to this day, like rewatching it. And it's an experience that like I will never forget. And it, you know, it just still makes me so proud that I got to be a part of that, going from just, I want to get out of school to like transforming me as a person.
It's
definitely
a
magical experience.
Goosebumps material. And like even when you're talking about it, it's like, because we haven't really ever properly discussed it as adults, because like obviously we know that that's, you know, it was a time when people were protesting and we understood the importance of that as well, but at the same time everything's a balance. So showcasing our culture, like you said, to the world at that like the production of bringing all of that together, when you get to see it back, right, you just go, holy shit.
But also, you know, as a black
and Rhoda Roberts helped with that.
That's
our family.
And as a black follower growing up, we had a lot of shame around dancing and displaying our culture at school. Like I used to do dancing and stuff like that, but then there were people who I knew were black fellas and they didn't identify, and they definitely weren't going to dance at assembly, you know, but there was always this kind of like embarrassment about dancing and doing your cultural dance in front of other kids because you'll get teased, you know, like I would be teased and called an abo and you know, just really horrible stuff because I was proud of my culture and I would dance. And so
keeping it alive.
Embarrassment around it. But when we were dancing for the Olympics, it was just all pride, and it was just, you know, I could feel like
energy,
spirit. Yeah, the spirit there in the stadium. It was like electric, you know.
Like how proud would our ancestors be just hearing,
and they
feeling
were there, you know, like you could feel like the spirits with us. They were like 100% with us.
100%. Like they wouldn't be any more prouder, because it's like, you know, didgeridoos, clapsticks, like community, like that's what blackfella stuff is, like with your mates, even though it was like, oh, I'm just going to get out of school, but like what you got out of it.
Hot. I get to see
he's cute. But it's like
when you're a teenager, that
brings people together,
but then you don't realize the significance of it. And you know, I feel like in that moment as well, that is when Australia was proud of our culture too. Like stuff like that, you know, it does seem kind of a bit tokenistic sometimes when they, you know, reel out the Aboriginal dancers for the world to see and whatever. But in that moment, it really did feel like Australia was proud to say, yes, Aboriginal people are, you know, from here and this is their dancing. And it was a different feeling of pride for our culture.
Yeah. And even when you're talking about getting the paint slapped on and everything, it's like electric, because, you know, you're dressed in culture. Like, you know what I mean? It's like how much...
We had a dress rehearsal, but we didn't have ochre, so it was a different feeling. Yeah, like we tried on our dresses and everything. That was fine, but it wasn't until the evening show when we were fully dressed and painted up. Like you just stand taller and you
Yep.
put your head higher, and it's just, you know,
That's
like this
amazing.
feeling from your chest where you want everyone to know I'm Aboriginal. You know what I mean?
That's right. Look at us.
Yeah.
And I love that it was called Awakening.
Yeah.
Like, you know, probably you haven't really got to reflect on it as an adult and as part of this spiritual journey. That's why I was just like, oh, no. You'll have a different perspective looking back.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to talk about it because, like, how could it not, like, move you inside when you feel Aboriginal ancestry energy?
Yeah. When you're dancing like that, it's like
Calling up.
It's not really you. Like, I can't explain it, like, you know, because you're dancing with ancestors. So you feel them with you.
Yep,
It's
they're helping
like
step by step.
out of body almost experience when you dance like that.
Yep. And yeah, lots of people, same stuff. It's like the heartbeat of the nation. Like this is like, that's why I knew, like, even though we haven't talked about it before, I knew just hearing you talk about that would make me think about, because that's the sort of stuff that happens to me when I create. When I'm doing art, it's like sometimes it doesn't feel like it's me painting, drawing. I feel like it's coming from outside of me sometimes, and you're just channeling and you're feeling energy, and it feels like we're being
just
guided.
flowing through you.
Because if it's me, I'm like, oh, I'm not very good. Let me get some reference points. But
yeah, and that's like
when
with dancing, you know, you'll be self-conscious or just all of this kind of stuff. But when you let go of that and something else takes over your body,
you're like supported by your culture, your ancestors, and then
it's about feeling pride and not embarrassment.
It's uplifting. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, because I remember, because, you know, obviously that's a really amazing way to get connected straight into our ancestors. But for me, I had like a bit more of an isolating sort of way through. And so when I do art and paint, it's like, you know, there's these amazing artists out there and you just sort of compare yourself, and then I'd question myself. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't paint. Like I'm drawing these things and all this sort of stuff. I'd question it.
Well, you kind of feel like you need to be taught that.
Taught.
Or, somebody
it's got to be passed down.
Pass it down, exactly. And because we didn't grow up
on country,
so you had that kind of detachment.
Yeah, it was a different thing. So then I'd keep just drawing and painting, and then I would get, like, you know, what my totems are, and, you know, we've talked about how I love trees, and I've just always had this connection to trees, and then like lizards and goannas, like I always just connected and just start drawing them, and I just knew that there was something special. And it wasn't, you know, I'd be painting, drawing. It wasn't till years later Dad came back from Lismore with Oral's, some of his, like our cousin's artwork, who's amazing. He's got heaps of art up in Nimbin. Yeah, he's amazing. But, you know, he'd come back and he'd give us some of his artwork, and like my lizards looked like his lizards. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, it felt like real confirmation.
Yeah, like you don't need to be handed this down in person because you're receiving it
connected to me ancestors directly. And I'm like, and it's just a different way to move through the world now, because things are different, but the connection to them is just through here.
Yeah.
And it's always available, but it's like I would block myself because I'd be like, oh, I need special permission from a, you know, a physical elder here on earth. But I'm like tapped into, you know, higher ancestor, ancient wisdom. So I'm like, I can't not, you know, be part of that. So that's what I would always feel. And then it wasn't, I think when we went back to Lismore, I actually got to talk to Oral, and I was like, oh, so, you know, I've always felt, and we have that convo, and he's like, sis, I've never been taught either.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I've grew up here. And he goes, but it's like they want us to do this. This is how we express ourselves. People are dancers, musicians, all different ways to connect with culture. I said, but this is how we do it, and it comes through us. And he's amazing. So that even helped again, like talking to him personally. And then when we're up there, like I found out that goanna, like lizards and trees, like a special tree, a hoop pine tree, are actually our totems.
Yeah.
Like our, you know, the clan one plus our Widgeable, like one, and I'm like, oh, what the and I'm like, I just
Yeah.
always knew. And for me, I'm like, how can I not?
Confirmation, then it's like, you haven't just been a bit crazy and thinking like it's special for no reason. Like it actually is, and you've been given this information
Connected. And I'm living so far away from our country, but what we've talked about, the energy, the song lines, we're connected instantly. It never goes away. So just being open to hearing and listening is what they've always wanted. And I would question and second guess it. But then, you go back and you'd remember when we went to Lismore and you had like a broken foot, knee, something. What'd you do?
I hurt the ligaments in my ankle and I was on crutches.
Sport. How old were you reckon?
About 14 or 15.
Okay, because when we went to that trip to Lismore, I don't know if you know this, but when we were at Uncle Daryl and Auntie Raylene's, I had a dream when we first got there, and it was all of these family black fellas from up there singing in Bunjalung. It was a welcoming.
I remember
me
you
home,
telling me this.
Right? It's all in lingo, and I could
And you
hear them,
understood them.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm singing and I'm crying, and I woke up and I was just like, wow, that was real. Like that was for real. And I got up
Jo,
and I was like telling everyone.
Any more experiences like that with them singing to you or talking to you in dreams?
Yes. Like our grandfather, he's usually around, grandmother. They've come to me a few different times, and she would ask me, I remember she's standing there, he's there standing with like a spear, and I don't know, she had this like fur stuff with her, and they're just staring at me. And I'm like looking, and then I'm like, oh, am I allowed to look? Oh, should I? And then she just says, can you see me? And I go, yes. Like it's a trick question. And she goes, no, can you really see? And I was like, yes. And then she's just like, use it. And then gone. And then I was always like, what does she mean? But then it's just like the seeing, they're always here. Just see them, connect. Like I don't have to be worried about what other people think or say, even in our own community, because everyone's got their own journey and their own connection to the culture. And I get mine when I go to other people's areas as well. So it's not just be safe in your own community. It's like, it's all one spirit of the land, and I can connect to all of it. It's just more about being open and seeing it for what it really is. Like,
and being respectful too.
100%. Like, have you had some experiences with besides your dancing one, because it's pretty full on?
Yeah. So with my spiritual mentor, we haven't done it for a while, but when I first started seeing her, we would do like meditation, which is we would call it a sound journey. So she would play music, and it's like a guided meditation, kind of like in a hypnotic state. So I would be in meditation and verbalize what I was seeing to her. So she would, just help me decipher stuff, or, it's like kind of like you're under hypnosis in a way. And this one time it's going to make me upset because it was so special,
Yeah.
Maybe
I think the last lot of stuff that we've been talking about, like it brings up the emotions, because it means a lot. And it's that intergenerational ancestral connection, it's like they're proud, they just want to be heard.
God, is this going to be a crying episode? That was unexpected. Okay, so in this sound journey, I was, it was like an initiation. And so I was with somebody who was our family member. I think it was an auntie. And she had taken me to the river. And, I was laying on my back in the water. And then all of the women, they came around, and they would, they were just, they were chanting,
supporting.
And just kind of giving me permission, to go forth on my journey.
Yep.
And saying yes, you're doing the right thing, and this is your path. and we're here with you, you know?
Yep.
So yeah,
It's
it was
pretty awesome, eh?
yeah, an initiation. And like that was the feeling after I got out of the meditation, was like, we couldn't do this for you in person, so this is how we had to do it. And that was really when I started like waking up to a lot of my gifts. And it was just like a moment, I guess, like how I spoke about before. It's like a before and after.
Yep.
Like after that meditation, I just felt really strong, and
Yep.
I felt like I had this support behind me
Yep.
of, like no matter what, it's all good. Like I
Yep.
don't have any fear in me, like at all. Like, yes, okay, I'm going to face difficult obstacles or whatever, but I just know I'm going to be fine. And I have these ancestors behind me who are pushing us forward, because this is why we're here. Like, we're doing the work that they couldn't do, and unraveling all this intergenerational trauma, especially women's business. And like, that's what we're here to do. That's our work. So they're working with us.
100%. Like, I've felt the same sort of stuff, and that's why it's like we've got permission from the quantum field. Like, it's bigger than just on the land, and it's bigger than just a human giving us
bigger
that
than just
mentoring
us.
and support. And it's like that's the part
not
that
just
people,
our work, it's our whole family line.
that's exactly it. And it's like, wow, that's a little bit of responsibility, especially since we're flying solo. You know what I mean? It's like we haven't, because of the way, obviously this country has dealt with things in the past, we're physically disconnected, but we're not spiritually disconnected. No. And this is what it just proves, that yes, we have to do it and connect in a different way, but it's just as strong, and we'll get validation along the way. Like, if it's in meditation, for me, it's been like physical, and also like just different concepts and ideas that felt like, we're talking about sky people and aliens, and then I get connections to people from like Bunjalung area who talk about those stories, who are elders. And then I'm just like, oh, holy shit. Like, it's real.
Like the stuff
like
that you're getting,
me.
is like actually legit.
Yeah. So again, it just goes back to like wherever people are from, it's like connect to your DNA. Like, every culture on Earth has an ancient history, you know what I mean? And it's all
Indigenous
linked.
something from everywhere. It's
somewhere.
Like, you don't have to just think about Indigenous in terms of like Aboriginal or Native American. Like, Indigenous people, like there's Indigenous people all over the place.
That's right. So just
to that
for me,
part of your heritage.
100% connecting with your own culture, but then obviously appreciate other people's. And just like, because, there is that whole appropriation and all that other stuff, but appropriation versus appreciation, very different.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. So I'm like, just, thanks for sharing, because obviously that was, we didn't know we were going this deep into the realm.
I wasn't expecting to cry, and I wrecked my eyeliner.
You're like, oh my God, I've just done good wings and everything.
My eyeliner and mascara is like running now. Thanks, Jody.
But hey, that's our women in our kind of lineage. That's what they want.
That's one of those things where, when something hits you deep like that and makes you cry, and you can feel like, just really from the inside that it's the right message, or just whatever, when it emotionally moves you, you know that you're on the right path and that it's a real experience.
Yeah, it's transformational, and you feel like deeply supported by things you can't even see. You just feel it.
Yeah.
And that's what we always talk about, like just connecting into the inner wisdom. But yeah, I think we should wrap up a bit. Like, I don't think I got anywhere else to go, man. I'm just like feeling all the feels right now, and I'm just so proud, like that we're able to, even have these cool convos, because we don't really have them anymore. Not like this. Like, this is making it, this is our own healing journey, and like you said, it's like help put you on the path of unlocking all these other freaking gifts.
Yeah,
that we didn't even know were a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you always
dive in.
When you start waking up and, on the spiritual path, like you wish for all of these kind of things to happen or whatever. And then, it takes a while, but then it's like, wow, like I really have these amazing gifts that I can tap into and be able to open my third eye and be able to speak to my ancestors and receive messages. And, you know, like I really honor the fact that we're able to do that in this lifetime. Like we always joke about how we, you know, signed up for like this tough kind of shit, but really I wouldn't want it any other way. Like being open to all these experiences, it's just makes my life more rich and fulfilled.
And thankfully we had foresight to choose each other on the sisterhood journey here, because otherwise, fuck. I don't know how slow I'd be on this journey, seriously, like if it wasn't for you, that's for sure. But
with that said, you know, it's like tapping into Indigenous kind of issues and just, you know, stuff around culture and connection. I really need you for that, you know, because for me, you're just the person who is like the knowledge holder for me, even though you don't necessarily step into that, or you feel, I don't know, like that it's not your title or whatever. To me, you are that authority of, if I need to ask you something around Indigenous issues, or especially with our family, you're the contact, you're the person to me who knows everything.
I totally get it, because like I think without knowing, that's kind of like what I stepped into when I was younger, because like with Auntie Donna's kids, like with Dean and Brendan, even Tice, Tash, like when we're growing up, because obviously we're lighter skin and they're, you know, not as connected through stuff, but they always knew who they were and they were so proud. And I would always, you know, red, black, yellow, everything, and be talking about our culture and trying to teach different words. And even though my knowledge is limited as well, but I just thought, how can we not be proud? And even now they'll just text me, Joe, can you design me like an Aboriginal tattoo? And I'm like, oh, don't give me that pressure. But I love, it's like paint me footy boots. And I'm just like, I just love that they're all connected in that sort of way, and they'll still, you know, come and seek it out. That's like,
and they know that you're the person to reach out.
Yeah. What was it the other day? Was it Melody about totems, or Dean or someone?
No, it was Dean. Yeah, he asked what our totem was, and then I passed along the info of, you know, this is our you know, tribal one, but this is our clan one.
We've got few, and then you also have your personal ones, and then that can change over time, and there's all these things. But I think it's like really important that our family, even if they're not like on the same type of spiritual journey, they definitely are on one, even if they don't think.
Because our ancestors are with us.
They won't let them.
And you know, it's our job to remember them and to do the work here to keep their spirit alive.
That's right. They love it.
And like just take pride in that every single day.
We're so proud.
Yeah, I really, you know, it's just
women's
one of those
journey
that, you know, is so close to our heart, because it just fills you with so much pride, and it gives you so much strength as well, just in your spiritual practice, to know that you have your ancestors behind you and protecting you.
They're every step of the way. Oh, thanks for sharing, Kel. I know it was full on, eh? I
didn't mean, to get upset.
No, that's good. Emotions are good, remember? That's
especially for me, because I'm like a, you know, robot.
No, you're not. It's just like, meaningful.
Yeah, it's like obviously something that touches my heart, makes me cry, you know, really, deeply attached to our Indigenous heritage.
That deep healing and support.
You can make a robot cry.
Yeah, you're not a robot. Oh, I love you.
I love you.
All right, then we better wrap it up. We don't have questions, but if you want to send any comments or, you know, want to hear more different things about our experiences, and because it's always evolving. Like our cultural stuff is always underpinning. It's like our foundation, but there's so many other avenues and different sort of things that we're always looking at and exploring. Every culture's got something amazing to offer. So just appreciate, just don't steal that shit. Appreciation, not appropriation, people.
Yes, that's a good way to end it.
Right? All right, until next time.
Thank you for listening.